How's it going, everybody? My name is Ryan45678 and welcome back to the 1976 Honda Elsinore MR175 project. Now this video is not going to be specifically on the bike, although it is because I'm working on parts from the bike, but it's in general, how do you clean these bolts and stuff that are rusted and corroded and all that kind of junk, literally. There's a few things that I've tried. Some work, some don't, some work okay. But I'll just get right into explaining before I show you really quick the best way that I've found that I like the best. It depends on what you're working on though. So with a lot of these bolts, what I tried was using the ultrasonic cleaner with Simple Green. Now personally I wouldn't recommend 100% Simple Green. It worked on these, it worked okay. I don't remember if these were shiny like these, like coated with something. They may have been. They probably aren't anymore. That's one of the things you have to watch out for with that, is it'll turn things black, and depending on what kind of coating it has on it, it might have something to do with it. I'll show you the head bolts really quick, because that's one of the ones that happened too. Yeah, so here's the head bolts. They're basically supposed to look like this shiny metal. They ended up, after getting all this stuff off, looking like that. So with these, the head bolts, what I did was I did the Simple Green, got all the grease and stuff off, but it also made them really rough and raw, I guess is the best way to describe it, to where it seemed like they would almost instantly rust. So the next thing I did, because that didn't totally get the rust off, or it really didn't get it off at all, is I used some steel wool. I don't remember what kind. It's like the thicker kind, and then the quadruple lot, I think, for the fine stuff. But definitely that's probably the better option to go. And then of course afterwards I oiled these with some Gibbs oil. You could probably just use anything really. But they turned out okay. They're not the best, but they'll be functional. Nobody's gonna look at those. But at least they're mostly shiny. Some of these still have a little bit of rust and stuff on them. I just could not get it off. The other thing I used on these to get the rust off before the steel wool was some Rustoleum, I think, is their rust remover. And this is what I'm talking about, Rust Dissolver. And it didn't work great. I think it had a part to play in causing these not to be, or to kind of lose their shiny finish and turn them dark. Because especially things where it looked like it had some kind of coating on it, like these look like they do, you could hear it fizzing, and it smelled funny, so it was obviously doing something not great to it. But they turned out okay. So basically the rest of this video I'm going to show you what I do with steel wool. I'm not going to do the whole thing because that would be boring. And if that works all the way, I'm going to do it for both of them. It may not, I think this one will be fine with that treatment. It shouldn't be too bad. This one may need some of the Rust Dissolver, but it might also be okay with just the steel wool. We'll see. We'll see. Sorry, I can't help the dad jokes. So of course with this this nut and anything else where there's like dirt literally caked on with oil, just get as much off as you can. I'm probably going to take this to the sink and scrub it with some dishwashing soap, and then we can hit it with the steel wool. Alright, so this one came out pretty much clean. It could probably use a little bit of ultrasonic cleaning, but this one not so much. Scrubbing on it with a toothbrush and soap didn't work. You could probably use something like this crud cutter. I'm just going to put in the ultrasonic cleaner because I'm lazy. And then we'll get to these while the ultrasonic cleaner is heating up, and then we'll turn it on and get out of here because that thing is annoying to listen to. Alright, so excuse the mess over here, but I like to do this away from engine parts because I don't want to get freaking steel wool everywhere in my engine. So this is a really worn down piece of the thicker, whatever you call it, not the fine stuff. This is the fine stuff. Honestly, this doesn't really do a whole lot, so I kind of stick to this. So you just kind of rub it so that you see all that junk, and it really should come off pretty easily on this one. Maybe a little more scrubbing, but that's pretty much gone on that one spot. So let me get the rest of it. Would you look at that? All that corrosion that makes you look like, ew, that bolt's no good anymore. Like, look at that. Shiny. I mean, it's not totally gone, but a little bit more work, and it will be. And it didn't really cost you nothing, except time. Same thing with these threads, I guess. Didn't really see corrosion in the threads before, but I assume it will work the same if it can get in there. And really, I need a new piece of steel wool because this one's too small. But like I said, I'm lazy. Same goes for the rest of this one. I'm going to show you, hopefully, doing something to this piece of you-know-what. So let's see how it does. I'm hoping it just gets a lot of it off, if not all of it. Looks like it might actually. It's kind of making a lot of dust. Yeah, it's a lot better. Let me try to get that one part down to bare metal at least, just so you can see how well this works. I don't think we'll even need the rust remover for this because it's not deep rust. It'll just come off like that. Yeah, just like that. I mean, I'll work on this some more off camera. I'll show you guys how it looks in the end. We might end up needing some of that rust remover, but overall this is pretty good. And there we go. That's the finished result on this bolt. It looks pretty darn good. I'll clean up the head later. I'll probably put in the ultrasonic cleaner with just a little bit of soap and water. And this is the really bad one. We're going to have to hit that with some of the rust remover, but it already looks good. You could probably put some oil on that or grease or something and it'd be okay. Cool, so these came up pretty good. This was also an unintended test of Pine Sol for working on this kind of stuff. It didn't do any damage. If you haven't seen my last video on the original carburetor on this bike, don't use Pine Sol because it eats away the brass that's on the fittings. But anyway, I got the grease off of this bolt. There's actually some rust under there, so sorry, I said bolt, I meant nut. This one is good. Still a little bit dirty, but at this point that's almost baked on there. It's shiny. I'm happy. We'll get the rust remover on this for sure. This I'm a little bit hesitant, so I'll use it on one spot on this one that's already pretty bad and see how it does. And if it does good, then I'll use it on the rest of it. If not, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may just use them as is, but let's try the big spot right here. This stuff you're supposed to leave it for like 10 minutes. I'm lazy, but I'll try to manage. It's been working pretty good. It worked great on the petcock parts. Those are, I believe, just steel. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could scrub this a little more to get the dirt off. Maybe I'll do that later, but not in the video. So yeah, let's leave that and see how it turns out. Yeah, so this is kind of what I thought would happen. I just tried it on a little test piece on this one, and you can hopefully tell the shiny, really shiny bright stuff is where I put the rust remover, and the yellow part is where I didn't. So that was after about 20 seconds. So I don't think I'm going to use this, except maybe I'll dab some on the parts that need it only, because I can stand to, I mean, they already look bad right there, so might as well try to get the rust off there with this stuff. Because it bubbles up as soon as it touches whatever galvanizing or coating that is. So we'll just try to get it off where it is. And the rest, it'll be shiny. And this one where the rust is kind of already eaten at it, it doesn't matter because it's like, it doesn't even look like it's eating it at all. The rust it is, I mean, but it's like already, there's no coating anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover this whole thing where it's rusted, I mean. Alright, so this nut came out pretty good. Still a tiny bit of rust. I'm okay with it. It's not detrimental. It's just a tiny bit. I'm going to cover it in oil anyway. So I'm more focused on these than anything. Although it looks like it kind of took away the coating, like I was saying. These compared to this one, it's pretty shiny. Alright, so let's see the moment of truth of this one. Just to wash it off. Yeah, I kind of pretty much ate into that, and honestly the rust isn't that bad, so I pretty much got it here. The bottom is what I didn't like so much, but it's not too bad. Yeah, so I think if I hit that with some steel wool, it'll be okay. Yeah, so I'm actually pleasantly surprised that shined up pretty well with the steel wool. You almost can't tell the difference if you didn't know. But yeah, this one's pretty much done. There's a little bit left. It honestly doesn't even look like it's still rust. It's just a mark where the rust was, so I'm good with this one. Put a little bit of oil on it and wait for the next one to finish. Big old boy. It's really greasy. I mean, rusty. Alright, let's give this one a moment of truth. Not too bad. There's still some pretty bad spots on it. Yeah, I'm not sure if that'll come off, but could try it a little bit longer and see what happens. But overall, that's pretty good. Cool, so this one is pretty much done. There's a little bit more rust. If you wanted to be really perfect about it, you could get it all off, but I'm okay with this. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to rust that much further at all, if any. So I'm just going to leave it. That's much better. It shined up pretty well. One thing I did notice, which didn't surprise me, is after washing it off, it started to get a film of corrosion, I guess, from whatever this coating is maybe, all along these parts that had the rust remover on it. So, but the steel wool kind of shined that off and made it not do that anymore. So that's good, and I guess that's the end of this video. That's pretty much my method of the best that I've found for cleaning up these nasty corroded rusted bolts and nuts and stuff. Obviously there's probably a certain point where it's too far gone, but if it's not and it looks bad but you don't want to buy a new one, just clean it up. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.